You don't always stop talking to someone because they wronged you. Sometimes, it's much quieter than that. Sometimes, you just get tired. Tired of being the only one checking in, initiating conversations, making plans, holding the emotional, the weight of the relationship all by yourself. There's no explosion, no big argument, just a slow unraveling. You look at the thread between you and realize your hand is the only one holding it. And so, for the first time, you let go. It's not revenge, it's not bitterness, it's clarity, it's peace. And when that moment hits, when you decide to stop showing up for someone who wouldn't notice your absence unless it was permanent, that's when the shift begins. She won't notice right away. At first, she might even feel lighter, freer, maybe even relieved. She'll continue with her day, post her stories, laugh with her friends, live her life like everything is normal. But something is missing. And that something was you. Your presence, your consistency, your voice in her world. The silence doesn't scream at first. It whispers, it tiptoes, but over time it gets louder. It fills the space where your messages used to land, where your check-ins used to come. And that's when it starts to sink in, not because of what you said, but because of what you stopped saying. She scrolled through her phone and wonder why it feels emptier. She'll check her messages out of habit and realize your name hasn't appeared in days. And it won't hit like heartbreak, not yet. It'll hit like confusion, like a disruption in the rhythm she took for granted. That's when your silence starts to do the talking. And without saying a word, you begin to show her what it feels like to lose something real. At first, she tells herself it's nothing. You're probably just busy, caught up in something, maybe taking a breather. She tries to act unbothered, confident, like she's in control, but deep down something's unsettled. The days pass and still nothing from you. That absence starts to feel heavier, more deliberate. Her mind, once so certain, starts replaying the last few conversations, looking for signs she missed. She checks your profile, notices you're still active, maybe posting stories, but not to her. That stings more than she thought it would. She told herself you'd come back, that you always did. But this time feels different. This time, you didn't. You didn't break the silence. And suddenly, the confidence she walked away with doesn't feel so strong anymore. It starts to crack. Not all at once, but slowly. She remembers how sure she was that you'd miss her, that you'd fold first. But as the hours turn into days and the days into weeks, that ego begins to shrink. She starts to question everything. Did she overestimate her place in your life? Did she mistake your patience for weakness? That doubt grows louder. She replays the moment she stopped replying, thinking you'd be the one to bridge the gap. But now, she sees you're not reaching anymore. You're not asking why. You're not chasing validation. And that shift breaks her internal narrative. You see, ego thrives when it's fed. But when you remove your energy, when you stop showing up the way she expected, it starves. And now she's left to face something she never anticipated, that maybe she wasn't the one holding all the power. Maybe the person she thought would always be there finally chose to stop showing up. And that realization shakes her more than she'd ever admit out loud. She goes through the motions like nothing's changed. Laughs with her friends, posts pictures, captions full of confidence and carefree vibes. On the surface, everything seems the same, but underneath, there's a quiet void forming. Something's missing, and she can't quite name it at first. The attention she used to crave doesn't land the same way anymore. Compliments feel flatter. The validation she once soaked up like sunlight now feels dull, because the one voice that mattered yours is no longer part of the noise, and that contrast becomes impossible to ignore. When you were around, your presence brought a different energy. It was steady, thoughtful, real. You didn't just show up, you paid attention. You didn't just speak, you listened. And now, in your absence, she starts to notice how rare that really was. The others may flatter her, flood her with attention, but none of it feels grounded. None of it feels like you. That difference becomes her new reality. She starts comparing moments, not intentionally, but automatically. That peace she used to feel when she talked to you. It's gone. The comfort in your voice, the way you made her feel heard, safe, seen. There's nothing like it in the noise around her. Even in the middle of laughter, there's an ache. Not a dramatic heartbreak, but a quiet longing. It shows up late at night, in the stillness, in the moments when she sets down her phone and stares at the ceiling. That's when your absence speaks loudest. You're not posting much, not reacting to her stories, not showing signs that you're watching anymore. And that's not just quiet. It's defining. It reminds her of everything she no longer has. Not just a person, but a presence. Not just communication, but connection. And once she feels that loss, the world around her just doesn't shine the same. Eventually she tries to move forward. Maybe she starts talking to someone new, someone who checks the right boxes on paper. At first it feels refreshing, new energy, new conversations, a new distraction. But slowly, almost without trying, she begins to notice the differences. The way he texts doesn't carry the same warmth. The way he listens feels surface level, like he's waiting to speak instead of truly hearing her. She laughs, but it doesn't come from the same place. It's forced, measured, and somewhere in her mind, the comparisons begin. Not intentionally, not even with malice, but instinctively. Because what you gave her wasn't just words or gestures, it was presence. It was emotional safety, a kind of peace that made her feel grounded, steady, understood. And now, no matter who she entertains, that feeling is absent. What once felt normal now feels rare. And the more she tries to replicate it, the more she realizes she can't. You weren't just another guy. You were the one who brought calm to her chaos, clarity to her confusion. And now that silence has taken your place, she starts to remember the small things. The way you'd sense her mood without her saying a word. The way your responses didn't just fill the space, they made her feel safe in it. And suddenly, the idea of moving on doesn't feel like progress. It feels like settling. The connection she thought she could replace turns out to be far more unique than she ever admitted. And in trying to recreate what you gave her so effortlessly, she's reminded again and again that your kind of presence isn't something that can be duplicated. It was real. It was rare. And now it's gone. And every new connection only deepens the absence you left behind. Time passes, and something unexpected creeps in, not just longing, not just confusion, but guilt. Not the kind that comes from being wronged, but the kind that comes from recognizing she never fully appreciated what she had. At first, she tried to convince herself you were just another guy, easy to replace, someone who'd come running back eventually. But you didn't. You didn't reach out. You didn't fold. You didn't break. And in that stillness, she started to see things more clearly. She remembers the way you showed up for her without asking for anything in return. The way you really listened, not just to her words, but to what she couldn't say out loud. You were patient, even when she was distant. You were consistent, even when she was unsure. And now that presence, once taken for granted, feels priceless. She starts replaying your conversations in her head, not for closure but for comfort. Because now, the reality has shifted. Your silence no longer feels like punishment. It feels like something she earned by not recognizing your value. That's the sting that lingers the longest. Not that you walked away in anger, but that you walked away in peace. Without a scene. Without blame. You simply stopped giving energy to a place that didn't pour it back into you, and the fantasy begins to grow. She starts remembering only the good, your late night talks, the way you made her laugh when she didn't even feel like smiling, the way your voice could calm her even in chaos. She starts romanticizing what she lost, not out of desperation, but out of regret. Not because you changed, but because you didn't. And she finally realized what consistency really looks like. And now, with every passing day, your silence feels less like absence and more like closure she never expected.